Did you know that something like 80% of corporate AI projects just don't deliver? 80%. That's a huge number. So today, we're going to dig into the single biggest reason why. And here's a hint for you. It has almost nothing to do with the AI itself. You can almost hear the sigh behind these words, can't you? It's the sound of millions of dollars and countless hours just gone. And it's spoken by really smart, really frustrated executives. You get it? They were promised a revolution, and what they got was a headache. But here's the real question. Did the AI actually fail them? And that leads us right to what I like to call AI's scapegoat problem. See, when a big, expensive project goes sideways, somebody or something has to take the blame. And AI, this mysterious, complex, new kid on the block, well, it makes for a very convenient target. So let's line up the usual suspects. First up, you've got the vendor. They obviously overpromised with their slick sales demo, right? Then there's the AI model itself. Maybe it just wasn't the right algorithm for the job. And finally, you have the technology as a whole. You know, the conclusion that it's all just hype and it's not ready for prime time. Now, these all sound pretty plausible, don't they? But they're all missing the real story. Because what's really fascinating is what happens when you zoom out. You see the exact same story playing out everywhere. A bank trying to predict fraud, a retailer trying to optimize inventory, a hospital trying to streamline patient care. We're talking different industries, different vendors, different kinds of data, but it's the exact same frustrating outcome. That pattern? Well, that's our big clue. It tells us the problem isn't the specific tool. It's something they all have in common. So let's get to that uncomfortable truth. Because if the AI isn't the real problem, then we have to look at what it was built on top of. We've got to look under the hood of all the shiny new tech and stare at the actual plumbing of the business itself. And this right here perfectly illustrates the great misdiagnosis. The myth, the story we tell ourselves is that the AI failed. But the reality, that uncomfortable truth, is that the foundation failed. And you know, getting this distinction is everything. It's the difference between learning from a huge mistake and being doomed to repeat it over and over again. Okay, so here's the most crucial point to understand. AI is not a magic brain that just figures things out and fixes your problems. A better way to think about it is like a giant microphone. A microphone doesn't write the speech, right? It just makes it louder. So if you give it a brilliant, coherent speech, it broadcasts that brilliance to the world. But if you give it a bunch of disorganized nonsense, well, it just broadcasts that nonsense much, much louder for everyone to hear. So what exactly is this unstable foundation we're talking about? Well, it's when your sales team's definition of a customer is totally different from your marketing team's. It's when your inventory system has no idea how to talk to your e-commerce platform. It's that one critical report that depends on Bob from accounting manually exporting 3 different spreadsheets and just praying that his VLOOKUP formula doesn't break this month. AI doesn't magically fix that chaos. It puts a giant spotlight on it. Which brings us to a really interesting question. If this foundational work is so critical, why on earth do so many smart companies try to skip it? It seems totally obvious in hindsight. So let's talk about the seduction of the shortcut. Well, the answer has less to do with a failure of logic and a lot more to do with plain old human nature. It's really about how innovation gets pitched, how budgets get approved, and what we as people find exciting versus, well, what we find kind of boring. I mean, just look at this comparison. On one side, you have the exciting AI sales pitch, full of flashy demos, instant insights, and rapid transformation. On the other side, you've got the hard truth. Foundational work is slow. It's meticulous. And let's be real, a project proposal titled Enterprise-Wide Data Governance Initiative doesn't exactly get a standing ovation in the boardroom. Nobody gets a promotion for being the best data janitor, even though that cleanup work is often the very thing that makes or breaks the entire project. And the consequences of taking that shortcut, they are absolutely brutal. We have to talk about the true cost here, because it's not just the money that was spent on the project. Oh no, the blast radius from a failed AI initiative is much, much wider than that. It happens in predictable stages, like a downward spiral. First, the project disappoints. Then, leadership's confidence in all this AI stuff just evaporates. That cynicism then trickles down, and pretty soon, the very people you rely on every day start to actively distrust the company's data. And the final, most tragic outcome? Future innovation just grinds to a halt, poisoned by the memory of this one big failure.
This right here, this is the most expensive outcome of all. It's the organizational scar tissue that forms. Once that belief that AI just doesn't work for us takes root, it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. It slams the door shut on progress for years to come. And that loss of belief is infinitely more costly than any single budget line item.
So, how do we avoid this whole disaster? How do we actually get it right? Well, thankfully, the path forward is pretty straightforward, even if it's not easy. It all comes down to a simple philosophy: clarity before code. It's about doing the first things first. You see, the companies that really win with AI, they don't start by hiring a team of expensive data scientists. They start right here. They establish crystal clear ownership. Just ask yourself, who is the single person accountable for the quality of our customer data? They agree on clear company-wide definitions for everything, and they build reliable, automated data pipelines that people can actually trust. The AI, that comes after all that is done. I want you to let this idea really sink in because this is the whole perspective shift. AI isn't some magic wand you wave to fix your business. It's a mirror. It's a giant mirror you hold up to your organization. And if the reflection it shows you is messy, disorganized, and inconsistent, well, that's not the mirror's fault. The mirror is just showing you what was already there. So, I'm going to leave you with this one question to take back to your team. Forget about all the hype about the latest, greatest model for a second and just look inward. Look at your processes, your definitions, your data culture. Is your foundation ready to be amplified? Because ready or not, that's exactly what AI is going to do. Here, we focus on cutting through all the buzzwords to figure out what it really takes to make these powerful tools work in the real world. So if you want to build an organization where AI succeeds in reality and not just in a slide deck, make sure you subscribe and join the conversation. I'll see you in the next one.